And Mr. Penrose, do you think the government does have questions to answer on why it's taken so long to get to this stage? After all, we haven't even got there yet. It's going to be next Monday.
Before we get the borders measures in, well, no, we've had borders measures in for a whole, for the entire period. They're just getting tougher and tougher as we learn more about both the mechanism of transmission, but also as we go through different phases. And now we're at the point where the vaccines are being rolled out at pace. We're one of the leading countries in the world on that. We need to keep on updating what we're doing. So I'd be surprised if everything stayed the same from X months ago. That would be, I think, not a very dynamic and not a very flexible response.
But John Penrose, what do you think about making this comprehensive for all foreign travellers rather than just those on the red list?
Well, what we've got to do is to try and make sure that we are clamping down on the risks completely. I think there's cross-party agreement on that, but not also killing jobs when you don't have to by making it impossible to go around our normal lives where there is low risk. And the danger of clamping down on everybody is, if you're going to say that's the case for every single country, then what are you going to do about all the truckers who are, and the hauliers who are part of the lifeblood of our economy, moving goods to and from ourselves and continental Europe? You've got to be consistent here. And if the other parties are arguing that we should treat everybody the same, are they really going to start doing that for every single trucker that comes through the Channel Tunnel and putting them in a hotel for 2 weeks? The entire country would seize up.
What about the sentences that Matt Hancock's proposing? I mean, why didn't any MPs complain, as we're seeing in a lot of newspapers today, about 10 years? It does seem a bit heavy for someone cheating on a form, isn't it?
Well, look, the courts will...
Oh, sorry, John.
I was just going to say that the courts will clearly make their minds up as to what's appropriate for each case. I think it's right to have a pretty heavy sentence available for the worst cases, but the courts will make up their minds based on the individual cases, and with any luck, most cases will be a great deal less serious than that, and will therefore not need anything like something as serious as.
What do you think, Munir? Is it, Ms. Penrose? I think you have a responsibility as an anti-corruption champion for the Prime Minister. Is this an area which you think needs looking into?
Well, I should declare an interest. I can't comment on test and trace because my wife's involved in that. But more broadly, I think the important thing here is to say, look, we as a nation, the government outsources no more and no less. We're bang on the average for developed countries, bang on the OECD average. The question is, are we getting good value for those contracts? Are we getting good value for taxpayers' money? And now we've left the EU, we have an opportunity, to this extent I would agree, we have a real opportunity here to make our contracting process much more transparent, much faster, much more nimble, much more digital, and therefore make sure that everyone can see what's going on, but also get much better value for the taxpayers' money. That's the answer, I would argue, rather than trying to turn this into a political football and saying, oh, it should all be insourced or outsourced. Actually, the question is, what gets the best value for taxpayers' cash and delivers the best service for that money?
OK, thank you all very much indeed for that preview. Of course, PMQs does tend to be a bit of a football match, but we'll see what happens